There are a lot of players, a big long list of top players that are out of contract in 2025. And as we creep to the end of December, those players can start negotiating with new teams.
Hmm.
Um, who I want to look at this list, who might stay or leave, and then are there any prospects in this group for maybe an MLS move? Obviously, probably headlining the list would be the Liverpool big three of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Van
Hmm.
Dijk, and Salah, and then shortly after that is Human Son at Spurs, De Bruyne at City, and then the weekend hero, Amad Diallo for United, also up for contract. Or any
Yeah.
of these players, do you think that, stay, go? What do you think is on the way here?
Well, I mean, I
Could,
don't. I don't know for sure. Obviously, I think the Liverpool trio is fascinating. We just talked about Jedi Robinson's performance at Anfield and whether he was auditioning to replace a fullback. I mean, it wouldn't be Trent Alexander-Arnold. He plays on the other side, but just the idea of them, building something beyond Trent Alexander-Arnold, who is still incredible. By the way, a year younger than Jedi Robinson. It's worth pointing out, or at least not maybe not a full year, but he's younger than Jedi Robinson. And I did see that kind of mentioned today. I was reading part of an ESPN column on Robinson. I know this is not about him, but just because it's tied to TAA, and the question of whether or not anybody would be willing to pay what Fulham wants for Robinson. So that might dictate, what kind of decisions Liverpool makes. Trent Alexander-Arnold has interest from the biggest clubs in the world. So if you're Liverpool, is it worth holding on to him? Um, you know, is it worth trying to re-sign him? I guess is the question. You're not going to get anything for him now, and as of January 1st, all of the players you're talking about can negotiate pre-contracts with teams going into the summer. And I do think it's interesting to wonder if a player like De Bruyne, who has been linked to San Diego at points, I don't know that. I think that's gone pretty quiet. I think Tom Bogert reported a little bit on that, and there maybe have been some mutual interest, but I don't know where we are. San Diego just added to their roster via the expansion draft. We've got the super draft, which isn't really a big lift in terms of your roster in MLS anymore, but that's coming up on Friday. Will Kevin De Bruyne be open to an MLS move? He's 33 years old. Like, if you're going to do it, if you're MLS, if you're going to do something like this, it kind of has to be now for a player like that. There's always the question of whether or not these guys are going to be able to adapt to life in MLS. Not because the league is super strong; it's certainly not the level that De Bruyne is used to, but the travel, the lifestyle change, those kind of things, the varying climates and altitudes that you have to play out in MLS. Those things are out there. Who else is on this list?
Min Son, Amad Diallo, the duo at Bayern Munich of Alfonso Davies and Joshua Kimmich are on this list too.
Yeah.
Um,
Kimmich
the,
is an interesting one. I don't know. I don't know what his future is. I mean, he's 29. He's still a very good player. I'm looking at transfer market. They've got him at 50 million euros in terms of his value. If he's out of contract, somebody's going to want him. But what is that? If he doesn't stay at Bayern Munich, I would bet he probably stays. Davies is a fascinating one. How long has he been linked to Real Madrid? For how? Now, obviously, is Real Madrid going to go into the market and no transfer fees, right? This is kind of the way things have trended, is that you wait out a contract as much as you want to go out and spend money on a player. But is Real Madrid ready to sign Alfonso Davies and Trent Alexander-Arnold to be their fullbacks for the next 5, 6, 7 years? At this point,
I
those
mean, they
that's
haven't ever really. They were probably pining for their Marcelo replacement because he was a large part of
yeah.
some success there and an all action fullback. I don't know if there is another our Marcelo out in the world, but that would be pretty intimidating to have that sort of creativity and pace and technical ability and still youth. Obviously, having those guys in the squad that would be pretty devastating.
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
it's
right
just
right now, Real Madrid relies on 33-year-old Lucas Vasquez on the right side, and I think they've had some different players roll through that
by
left
committee.
side.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not been solid. And obviously, if you get a Davies, you imagine if he can stay healthy, he's going to be your first choice left back most of the time. Again, coming back to the MLS, what do you think, Rob? I mean, who on this list makes sense as an MLS target? Because there's a couple of factors, right? Traditionally, not always, and I don't think anybody would put Carlos Vela on this in this category when he left Europe, the way that you're kind of describing some of these guys. We're talking about some really big names here. But Carlos Vela was sub 30 when he arrived, right? I believe David Beckham was, I don't remember, that's a long time ago, but I think he was sub 30 or just past 30. So can MLS find those players, or are they going to have to do that? Well, he's 33 and he's winding down, and maybe he's got 2 or 3 seasons, and let's see if he'll come over, and we'll have to pay him $10 million a year to do it.
So players kind of in that the elder category. James Rodriguez is out there. Neymar.
Is he out of contract this summer, James?
Yeah.
Because didn't he just join Rayo Vallecano? Didn't that just happen?
He's on the 2025 list. Maybe we can get some fact checking, but I think it might have been a 1-year contract. And I don't know. I don't think he's playing very much. So, and he's not too shy about bouncing around. So that one kind of raised my eyebrows. Neymar, if he wants to, we think I'd have to guess
Massive pay cut if he leaves Saudi Arabia. And obviously, injury has been probably. I wouldn't risk it on Neymar. I mean, it'd be fun if he was healthy. I just don't think you can count on him being healthy, and that's your biggest issue.
I don't know if he's a big name draw, but another person kind of this category and age bracket, Alexander Lacazette.
I was just looking at his name. He's at Lyon. Lyon has massive money problems right now. They have that provisional relegation because they owe 500 million euros or something like that.
Yeah.
Alexander Lacazette is not going to move the needle at all. Unless he goes to Montreal, and then maybe a little bit he moves the needle, but he's not going to get a lot of attention outside of that.
But for a productivity, he seems like he could still.
If you
produce.
can get me Alexander Lacazette on something like $2.5 million in MLS, I mean he's going to have to be a DP. I don't think he's taking non-D. He's 32, 33. Maybe if you can convince him to take a TAM contract, 100%, you try it. Absolutely. I don't know what his numbers are at Olympique Lyon right now.
And then the other name, okay, this is a good question.
5 goals this season for Alexander Lacazette in Liga.
Okay. That's something. But if there's a team in MLS that says optics be damned, there's a name on here. Marko Arnautovic could produce some goals.
Marko Arnautovic.
Just for the we need some more bad boys over here, right?
We need some more players to mix it up a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. Where is he right now?
He's at
Inter Milan, and he's filling in quite a bit at Inter Milan, right? He's mostly playing a sub role.
Yeah,
and he hasn't scored this season. Is that right? Do I have that right?
I haven't checked his stats, but just
hasn't scored this season yet. 5 appearances, hasn't scored a goal, and that's 5 appearances.
So he could be a player looking for a new environment to thrive in.
He could. He's 35. Unless you're getting him on a budget deal, I don't think Marko Arnautovic is a guy that anybody in MLS should be. I think that would be a waste of money, in my opinion.
All right, one last name to throw out there: Juan Cuadrado.
Oh, I love Juan Cuadrado as a player. I love watching that guy play. Yeah, man. He's dropped
currently
off.
At Atalanta.
Yeah, and he doesn't. Does he play a ton at Atalanta right now?
Not too much.
He doesn't play too much, right? This is what I mean. His level has dropped off so much. Also, 36 years old, Juan Cuadrado. Okay, Arnautovic, I'm going to say no, but maybe a TAM deal for Juan Cuadrado. Give him a year. Sure, why not? Let's see what happens. It'd be fun to watch.
You're willing to roll the dice on that one?
Yeah, absolutely. Juan Cuadrado, just for a year I mean, here's the thing. Nobody spends that money on a fullback in Major League Soccer. Nobody spends that kind of money. Fullbacks are your lesser known names, your American players who get a crack at that. That's not a position MLS teams give big contracts to. Fullbacks. Who's the highest paid fullback in MLS? Could you even begin? I don't even think. No, I mean, who's the best fullback in MLS?
Uh, it would be the fullback that went to Inter Miami from Barcelona.
Oh, we're talking about Jordi Alba. That's true. Jordi Alba is the exception to this rule. That is a good point, man. But that's because they put the band together in Miami, the Barcelona group.
Definitely an
But
outlier.
man, I don't think. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's a tough one. Kai Wagner, is he sticking around? I don't know what he's doing. But again, that's a guy who was in the third division in Germany and comes over and makes a name for himself in MLS. There's some wing backs in the league that are that maybe that's where Juan Cuadrado plays. You have to find a team that plays wing backs, and you bring in Juan Cuadrado because he'll be much more of an attacking weapon from that position, obviously.